Hey guys, welcome again to Inside the Tank Live. For those of you watching live, welcome. Glad that you're here. Make sure you participate in the chat room. If you want, you can participate in the chat room by going to cashflowdiary.tv. Very, very good. We just saw another episode of the Shark Tank. 4 different companies. We'll be talking about those today. For those of you who have been watching, it was season 6, episode 28. We're going to go through a quick recap of all the companies that came through today. We've got 4 different ones, from a car run on air to a diet bar to a specialized lure for all of you fisher people out there, all the way to the lenses and glass for those of you who are, well, like I used to be, I guess, before I had LASIK surgery, in need of glasses, or maybe now you can use them for shades too. It's kind of interesting. So we're going to go through these rather quickly because it was something of an uneventful episode, in my opinion, today. It was out there, kind of like random hodgepodge, couldn't really pick up on a theme. A lot of odd things happened, but we'll start with Zero Pollution Motors. All right, so Zero Pollution Motors, they were asking for $5 million for 50% of the company. As you guys know, we do the math all the time. So on this one, it's very simple. You just got to multiply by 2 to figure out what they're asking for. It's a $10 million deal is what they went in asking for a car that runs on air. I'm like, wow, that's different. 50 miles per hour. I'm like, 50 miles per hour on air. That's amazing to me. 100-mile range and $10,000 for the actual vehicle in and of itself. Now, some of you out there, if you're not familiar with Tesla, this is probably the Tesla alternative, right? But here's the question I always got to ask. Why do we have to make green cars look so stinking ugly? I mean, look at that thing. Anyway, let's keep going. So the car is moving into production. They have the right to build in one state, if I'm not mistaken, with a small regional plant, and there's other companies that are out there getting the rights to build for entire countries. And it was rather straightforward. This was really kind of only for one person, but it's a specific investor identity, if you will. Obviously, Mark, Damon, Lori, Kevin, there are no offers. And at first, they were being laughed at, and eventually they proved that it made sense in some way, shape, or form. And this is one of those deals that takes not only proof of concept, but vision. And that's exactly what's missing. It's like when you're out there doing a fix and flip or a rehab, or you're developing a product, or this is actually more akin to taking land development. You go into a blanket piece of land and you go, here's what's going to be here one day. And then one day, when this thing is here, millions of people are going to come by. And you can call Disneyland, if you think about it. Buying up all those individual orange groves and parcels, assembling it, building something that had never been built before, and now, on any given day, 70% of the people that are physically at Disneyland are repeat customers. Yeah, that's an amazing vision, and this is very similar. Now, you and I both know that, whether you believe global warming is to blame and all this other stuff, that, there are some undeniable facts. The point is, a zero pollution car is attractive. I mean, it's marketable for sure. I know I've looked at the Tesla. I've test driven the Tesla Model S. It's awesome. P85 Plus, really nice. I liked it. Anyway, and this car has a specific market, especially for $10,000. That's not bad. So they did get an offer from Robert, the car guy, because it took someone who could see the path of how to get to that point of actually making money. And you've got to be patient. This is the patient money right here that you've got to have, because you're building infrastructure from the ground up, so to speak, in order to actually bring something to the market. You got the education cycle, the marketing cycle, and then heaven forbid you've got all the crash tests and safety and all the other stuff that's required to bring a vehicle into the U.S. It's going to take a while. And only someone who's been through that or is willing to be patient enough to go through that would even care or dare, and that's exactly why they got the offer they did from Robert. One of the things that I wanted everybody to see or hopefully notice from this particular one is sometimes when we're out there, if you've got a deal, you're thinking too small. You may think you're thinking big. I'm sure, Pat Boone and the other guy, what was his name? Where'd it go? Ethan. Pat Boone and Ethan were thinking that they were thinking big. And it was clear, really quickly, that the reason that they were having part of the reason they were having challenges because I don't know if you've heard the phrase, pioneers get slaughtered, but settlers prosper. And no one wanted to just have the opportunity to be the pioneer. Pioneer being the one that brings it into the U.S., figures out all the rough stuff, but never gets paid for the actual hard work that they've done. Because once you've done the POC, proof of concept, everyone else gets to build on top of that infrastructure, and you don't want to just make it easy for everybody else. And what they wanted was the right to leverage that experience. So sure, we'll start with one plant, but we want to make sure that before we start with one plant, we can put them in all 50 states all the time, no matter what. And that's exactly what Robert ended up asking for. He's like, look, I'll do this. I will go down this road, but I will go down this road contingent upon being able to secure a deal for the entire U.S. as the territory, which now we're talking lots and lots of big. So those are one of the things to definitely think about as you go out there. When you're going to ask for something, ask for all of it, because you never know what they might say. So that's pretty much all I've got to say on the zero pollution car. I do say this, I'm definitely a client, I guess, if they can make one big enough to fit me. that's definitely the problem. What's up?
Yeah, there's a couple things that I noticed, and I don't know. I've seen other cars that are propelled that way, so I don't know if it's a proprietary thing, because I've seen other air compressed cars before, and so I don't know if that's if they have a patent on that or not. They never spoke of that, but also
they couldn't have a patent. Patents are only U.S., right?
Well, I mean,
it's not a worldwide patent.
You can have patents in other countries.
Sure, but they don't have one because it would only be it's not in the U.S. yet.
No, but I'm sure I mean, you obviously can apply for a patent way before
Sure.
you have a product.
Sure.
But the other thing was the big thing is the price point. I think is it's competing because it doesn't use the battery. It's a huge thing. I think they kind of glossed over that because when I first watched it, I was like, "What's the big deal?" Compared to electric, because you're still plugging it into the wall.
Yeah,
you're still using electric. But the big difference is the battery.
Right.
You don't have to replace the battery every 2 years.
No.
And the battery is a huge cost, also a huge weight in the car. And
Right.
battery technology has not gotten better in the last 30 years.
Not
extensively. So, and it's a huge cost to replace. So that's the reason why they're able to do it so cheap and have, be a good replacement for a golf cart or, those kind of smaller commuter vehicles.
Right. No, I agreed. The other thing that I thought was, if there was anything that I thought was odd, was the how when it ran out, you said they had to plug it into the wall, but not so much to plug it into the wall, but if you were at the gas station, how you could hook it up to the air compressor. I'm like, wow, that's neat. If you need to. So
he said that it only took 4 minutes.
4 minutes, right?
4 minutes. So if you had air compressor if they were able to replace gas with air compressors,
right,
it would only take about twice as long, maybe not even that long. It takes probably for an SUV over 4 minutes to fill up.
I know,
so
right.
You are going to be just as fast as traditional gas. Now, obviously the issues I think with that car is a lot. I mean, there's no way that car is going to pass crash testing, but they can change that. That's just the design. They can change that all around. But it looks like it's it's more of a golf cart.
Well, I think the bigger issue is going to be the lobbies and Washington getting that sucker in the U.S. I don't think they're going to be able to deliver it in the U.S. for $10,000. That I don't see that, because they're going to have to make so many changes just to make it quote unquote compliant for U.S. standards. I don't see it getting in for $10,000, but I still don't see it. It's not going to become like a $50,000 car. So. But again, that's part of the journey that Robert's agreeing to go down. And who knows? It could be the thing we're all driving 5 years from now.
I don't know about 5 years, and I think it's more of a. Okay. I think it's more of a island, or more of like
you don't know,
or more of a like even like China, those places that
Sure.
that don't have access to gas. I mean, even in Europe, gas is super expensive. I think
Right.
it's 3 times as much as it is here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You've got two things you're fighting against. Now this is a direct attack, quote unquote, on the oil company, and saying, hey, we're going to devour your market share, and we're going to devour it with a low price product. I mean, Priuses are ugly, but they sell because they fit a particular model, a particular person. The Nissan Leaf, another ugly one. I mean, all of them are ugly except the Tesla, and it just is what it is. So I think they're going to be fine. It's just going to be a while, and if they can make them big enough for normal people like me, I think that'll be great. I think it'll be great.
We have a question.
Sorry. I see. So Sepp is asking, didn't Robert do it because of the potential for the growth because he's a car guy? Well, I think it's both, Sepp. So when you're talking about did he do it because of the potential for growth? Absolutely. I'm sure the auto industry is, I don't know, trillions of dollars large. I really don't know. But he's also a car guy. Being a car guy gives him the emotional comfort to understand here's how the product cycle works. Here's what it may take. All the others had like no experience in the car world. So, hearing that it might take 8 years, 10 years, 15 years to bring a product to market is like, that from their frame of reference could be totally like, oh, that's just way too long. I don't want to wait. But Robert's like, hey, that in his frame of reference, that could be, fast. So I think it's a combination of both. He had familiarity with product, i.e. cars, and the potential for growth is huge. And in fact, if that potential is what it is, he got in cheap for $5 million. I mean, it's a drop in the bucket, compared to where it has the ability to grow. That's like I don't know if you've ever played the board game Cash Flow. There's this one card where you get a stock for $1. This is the equivalent of, the stock for $1. So especially if something like this catches on or takes off, or the other thing to think about is maybe the whole car doesn't get into the U.S., but maybe there are certain components that become components of other natural gas, not natural gas. Is it air? I guess that's a natural gas vehicle. I don't know. Anyway, you get my point. The other components that can get maybe approved, and then some of those components can be used in something that's already a production vehicle. So they've got a lot of plays. They got a lot of work, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's, I mean, the first thing is that he got a deal because originally he said, oh, well, you can have the U.S. for $200 million, and then he accepted $5 million.
Right.
And I was like, okay.
Right.
I don't get that because Hawaii is a tiny territory compared to the U.S.
Sure.
and at $5 million, it makes sense on that island. It does. I've been there. You can't drive more than 50 miles an hour anywhere in Hawaii. There's no place in Hawaii you can drive faster than 50 miles an hour. So it's perfect for that place.
You might as well walk. Yeah, got it. No, I totally got it. So as we wrap up on Zero Pollution Motors, what would I have offered? I wouldn't have been anywhere near this deal. Would I have taken the offer? Absolutely, because it was better than what they were trying to do anyway. Would I have made a counteroffer? Yes, because as you just heard Jacob mention, they pretty much sold the U.S. for $10 million. That is basically, they sold what is a $20 million contract for $10 million, or at least their share. I mean, they just undersold that a lot. How would I have done it different? I guess that's about it. Or tried to have the car, or figure out a way to, I don't know. You got to figure out a way to demo the product, especially that kind of concept product. What questions would I have asked? I actually would have wanted to know more about, how it is being accepted in the European market, or maybe European sales, wherever it's being currently made or produced, and all these other things. What's going on with it right now? What questions were answered poorly? Kind of how they were going to go to market. But hey, I think if they got something, we'll find out what. Who knows? This is we won't be seeing a Shark Tank update on this one later this season. That's for sure. It's going to be a minute. So it's all good. Something for us to follow. So now we get over to the Paleo Diet Foods, $150,000 for 20%. So again, multiply that by 5 to get to 100. So now you know they're asking for $750,000. It's a paleo bar, and eat like a caveman. That's not good, in my opinion. I like meat, lots of it, cooked. Anyway. So deal specifics, $135,000 in sales, $45,000 in online sales, sold in over 350 locations, retail at $2.99, cost $1.09, margin 25%. As you guys heard them say, it was way too low. I think they also have another issue when the doctor has a 5% equity stake and a 10% royalty. That's going to be a challenge for them to overcome. However, I think of all the companies that were presented today, this one, even though it was a no, it's like I felt like it was a no, not like a no forever. There are things she can go back and to fix. Nobody, she got no offers, and the things that are broken are not really that quote unquote bad per se. Especially when you look at the fact that part of it is that she was fitness instructor by day, dental hygienist by lunch, mom of 3 by afternoon, a wife somewhere in between there, and doing the paleo diet foods.
And working out, the workout coach.
The workout coach?
Yeah, she in the morning, the early morning.
Well, hey, whatever it takes. And she was really willing to do whatever it takes. But I've said something before, and I say it again. Is this camera working up here?
Yeah.
So this is one of those cases where you've got to follow this acronym, and it's scary to some degree, and I know that. Follow one course until, keyword, successful. It's not easy to do, and it takes discipline. It's not easy to do, and it takes discipline to be able to actually execute that, because you've got ideas and new ideas, and you want to tweak them, you want to change them, and you've got to have people on your team who can kind of corral that ADD, let's make something happen mentality. And that's where she's coming from. She's follow one course until successful. Something that was mentioned, I don't know if you heard that, but Kevin mentioned the online idea, and I think online is where she needs to play, especially for a market that's so search specific, especially since she's got the name. She's got a lot of search credibility. She could probably do a Google AdWords campaign and really kill this thing from an online standpoint. That would be my guess, is kind of what Kevin was thinking. I'm almost positive that's what Mark was thinking. And clearly there's something, with the taste of the bar, but then again, to me, most of those bars all taste like cardboard anyway, so you know what, you want flavored cardboard? Is that what you're really after? So that's probably not that big of a thing, but the biggest thing is the risk. She was the liability in this particular case, not so much the product. And I hope you saw that. Understand that when an investor is looking at you, sometimes they're looking at, you, and that could be the entire reason why things don't go the way you think you don't want them to go. It's because you aren't what the person that they think can protect or captain the ship in the way that it needs to be done. Let's see. So on this one, I'm pretty much, what would I have offered? I think I probably would have made an offer. I don't know. It'd probably been, maybe less money for the same 20%, kind of like a $50,000 for 20%, and just brought in the marketing pieces and scrapped everything but online. That's kind of, I don't want to compete retail. I just want to do it online. Scrap everything, do it online, be done with it. At the end of the day, that's kind of where I would go. Would I have taken? She didn't have any offers. Would I have made a counter offer? There's nothing there. So at the end of the day, that's how I see it. She just needed some back office help for sure, and she needs some marketing help and some focus. So, yeah, there it is. What do we got next? World Record Striper Company. Okay, $75,000 for 20%. All we got to do is multiply by 5 to get to 100. So that's 3, 4, 25. 375. What did I do? Oh yeah, it's 375. Got it. So we're at $375,000 for the entire company. He has lots of credibility in the fishing market, And to his own credit, he said, I'm a great fisherman, but a horrible businessman. And then he went to prove it by having only sold 7,000 units. 55,000 over 3 years. But again, not bad considering his distribution method was mainly trade shows. You know, hey, if you're going to do it, go out there and get your hustle on. You know, package it yourself. I mean, everything. He was like, well, I just made it myself. I just made it myself. I just made it myself. Everything was done myself. And I find that interesting, you know, sold at 645, cost 250. Probably a little expensive on the cost side, needs to get that down. At the end of the day, he was given a unique proposition, and I thought it was, again, very unique. So we had no offers, 2 no offers. We never heard what Kevin was going to do. We have no idea if Lori was interested for the QVC angle, but Mark said, hey, I'll give you $80,000 for 33%, but you can't listen to Kevin's offer. You got to take mine. And he went, yes. Now, I think being a fisherman, he knows what it's like to have a fish on the hook, and said, you know what, I'll take it. That makes perfect sense to me. Because, hey, take the fish on the hook. You know, you never know. You could, yes, throw one back, and you might end up with nothing. And sometimes you just don't want to take that chance unless you have a better option. Given that he had no better option, I agree with the decision he made and the plan that Mark laid out. You know, it's very simple, and because we all know that Kevin was not about to roll up his sleeves and get down and dirty and help this guy in any way, shape, or form that needed to be helped. So might as well go ahead and take the offer from Cuban because, well, it's the one that makes sense. So that's how I see it.
I'm surprised Lori didn't jump in.
That was a total QVC-able product, right? I mean, especially since you got to, you know, like she was talking about, hear the noise and you got to demonstrate it. Or that Saturday, because I know I've seen stuff on like Saturday afternoon when all the B movies play, or you got that fisherman and talking about, you know, the one, sometimes it's the guy with no teeth, right? And how he was a great cat fisherman and all this other stuff and whatnot, and he's won all these things. I know I've seen that type of commercial before.
Well, I mean, they always have, like, I mean, the QVC they always have, like, the product, the guy that's made the product, he's a perfect guy for demonstrating the product. He has the world records himself. He's been doing it since he was 2.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, he's the perfect guy for that, to demonstrate that and sell it like nobody's business.
All day long.
And he sold it at trade shows. I guarantee you that he didn't have a website until he got on the Shark Tank. Because I have an uncle that makes lures in his little backyard and looks just like the guy. And I'm like, and it's like he does not have a website to save his name. He sells it all like directly to the people
out
who
of the
know.
back of his truck.
Like he sells it to professional fishermen,
right.
And they like are. No one else knows about him outside of those. You have to like know this guy, and that's the guy. This guy said, "I made something awesome. I'm not telling nobody. I'm going to win all these world records."
Right.
And then he's like, "Okay, I'm done winning these world records. Let me see if I can sell this product." And
Totally.
that's great. That's totally makes sense.
Totally. That is so. Oh, my cheeks hurt. I'm smiling too big. Okay. Yes, Jacob, you got it. And you guys, if you saw it, you gotta agree. That was absolutely crazy to watch that happen. So, what would I have offered? You know what? I like the way Mark was going with it. I probably would have offered the same thing, especially since Mark already had an entrepreneur or a company in that space that could actually go out there and make it happen. Would I have taken it? Absolutely. Would I have made a counter? Nope. Didn't have a better option. How would I have done it differently? Again, and you're going to see this again in the next example. Why do people keep coming in the tank with no salesperson? I get that you might not have a lot of sales, but you come in with no salesperson, nothing. You got coming in as the guy. It worked out for him, but it doesn't always work when you don't have salespeople, a salesperson, you know, there helping the company in some way, shape, or form, negotiating for the right things. You got to go in the tank with a salesperson. That's just all I got to say.
I think it's more of a negotiator than a salesperson.
Okay, sure.
I mean, that's probably a better term. I mean,
okay, sure.
But you know, someone.
Well, this company needed a salesperson.
Well, they needed a lot. That guy needed a lot. He had the product. He had the personality.
Sure.
He had a pretty horrible name for his company and a pretty.
It was good for him.
Pretty horrible packaging and pretty horrible everything else. but he had a product that worked.
It was functional.
He had a better mousetrap, which
Yep.
they like to say, and
That's all that
Fisher's.
matters.
I guarantee you, if I showed my dad that, he would be buying it now.
Yeah.
If I showed my uncle that, they would be online figuring
right.
out how to get on the internet. Like, how do I buy this thing? Because that's the kind of people they are. Like my dad, my uncle. They barely know how to use a computer,
but they were going to find it out for that.
They would go find out and call the guy
it.
who'd be like, "Where's the phone number? Can I call him?" And he's not that old. It's just like he doesn't like using it, and I'm sure that guy's the same way. He's just like, "I'm going to sell it the way I know in person."
Yeah, I get it. I just think it's funny. I just think it's hilarious because right now every fisherman probably just went straight to the website and bought it. They don't even care when it comes, and they bought hundreds of them. At the end of the day, it's all good. I think it's awesome. It worked for him. But yes, a negotiator. You should be able to like hire somebody. I'll go on Shark Tank and negotiate for you. Have a negotiation representative or something. That would be a cool position. I could do that. That'd be fun. Sorry, I'm getting excited again. Thinking about something else. So anyway, let's talk about this last one. Interesting name, Framery. $150,000. That seemed to be very popular. Maybe that was the theme. $150,000 day. That's really what it is. It was always $150,000. They're asking for over $4 million for frames. Frame company. Now, I like the customization, but customization means SKUs. Customization means time to deliver. Customization means I didn't know it was going to be that kind of pink. That's the challenge, but they got several patents pending, which I think is great and smart. I think this is more of a licensing play at the end of the day, and they shouldn't be trying to build a new brand in this particular market space. And again, they need sales. You got two guys who probably great at making products. Clearly, their marketing good. I like their photos, their photography. I haven't gone to their website, but I'm guessing it looks awesome. And yet they don't know how to sell jack. That's really what that means. Because they've got, at a $500 product, so $500 product they've sold 140, units? 140,000 units or something? That sounds right. 140,000 units for $70,000. It's like, okay, that's it?
1,400 units.
$1,400? 1,400? Yeah. That's not enough. I mean, it's just not right. It's like somebody doesn't know how to sell. And I think these guys suffered from two very specific things. I wrote it down. They don't have a salesperson in the company. Okay, that's number one. Number two, they clearly don't have a CFO because there are so many numbers that they did not know in terms of, what their, customer acquisition was going to be. They didn't know. They just didn't know, and they probably priced themselves out of the realm of getting a deal anyway, at the end of the day. And, Mark, Damon, John, everybody was no except for Kevin. And when Kevin said $150,000 loan, I was like, okay, this is going somewhere. And then he said he wanted $25 off the top on every one of them. I mean, ouch. You're going to charge them. I'm just like, wow, $25 off the top with a guaranteed 3X. All right, that's painful, especially to people who don't know how to sell anything yet. They don't even know how much money is going to be left over, at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, if you look at their pricing cost versus what they sell for, they have a huge margin. I mean, the lenses were $10, and they were selling for $100.
They have a huge perspective margin.
Exactly. They didn't sell them. They
don't know.
They don't know, and so they have. I'm still with Damon where I don't think they were there for a deal.
Right.
And I think that they were just there for the exposure, because coming at 3.5% is I think the lowest percentage I've ever seen, and with absolutely no sales,
right. I was hoping they had sales when they said it. I was like, what?
And I don't even think they're going to get the patent. I mean, I've seen those same pop-out lenses when I was a kid.
Right.
And there's no way that they're that different. That I pop in and out glasses. There's no way that they can get a patent that's going to not be the same.
Who knows?
So they're not going to get the patent. They just are getting the exposure, and that's what I think Damon was hit it on the nail right at the beginning.
Yeah, probably. I just don't see Anyway, 3.5%. You guys get how I feel. What would I have offered? I like the idea of the product, but I can't get behind all the SKUs, the inventory management, or just what's it going to lead time to actually make an order. It's going to be crazy. Would I have taken the offer? No, I would not have taken that offer for the same reason he didn't take it. He did make the right decision to not take, because you can't afford $25 off the top when you don't know right now. Would I have made a counter offer? I would have at least said, hey, I'll take that, but can we work another way off that $25 off the top? That was the problem. Everything else he was probably very agreeable to. It was the $25,000 off the top, the $25 off the top. But again, because he's not a salesperson, he's not thinking, well, what can we do? He had something. He had he had a person on the hook, a shark on the hook. See, the fisherman probably would have thought of a way to make it work because he's a fisherman.
Well, Kevin said he doesn't want a counteroffer. He said,
"Oh,
here's
that's right."
my offer.
He did
He's
say
like,
that.
I don't
That's
want a counteroffer. Take it or leave it.
Well, good point. What would I have done different? Try to have some sales. Period. Get some sales, like a lot of them.
Yeah.
That would have been their saving grace. Had they come out the gate and said, yeah, we've sold, 5,000 units. Oh, in the last, 6-7 months. Oh, okay. Now we're talking.
Yeah, their crowdfunding was not impressive, even though
Not
they
even
doubled.
that.
Even they doubled.
I
it was
think
not very impressive.
I think
if they would have
not
said 600,000, then it would have been impressive. But 64 not.
I'm willing to bet that they purposely tried for 30 and ended up. They purposely went for that crowdfunding to be low. That was the thing that I thought was like, that's a very low number. I bet you they thought they were going to get a low number. So what they did is they went purposely low so that they could say we doubled what we asked for. Anyway, that thought did go through my head. It is what it is. What can you do? What can you do? At least they're out there trying to create some jobs. And as he said, you're only a first-time CEO once. You're only a first-time CEO once. So, hopefully you learned some more things of what not to do, what to do, how to get your deals done and make that happen. The best offer of the night,
$5 million?
$5 million is, well, that was definitely, yeah, I guess that was the best offer. Robert got a steal. Steal of a deal there. Worst name for a product. Oh, we have so many choices today. We have so many choices. We've got the Paleo diet bar. We've got the zero pollution motors. We've got the world record striper company and framery. I think can we have a first place tie?
We got a 4-way tie there with 4 of the worst names of any Shark Tank ever.
They were all there at the same time. Worst deal of the night, clearly the last one. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know if they were thinking, but hey, Conrad and Kevin, if you're upset and you want to talk to me about it, that's fine. Put a note in the chat box, and I'll tell you that wasn't smart, but it's all good. At the end of the day, guys, sometimes remember you got to understand proof of concept. You got to make sure that they can see the vision, that you can communicate it, and most importantly, is you got to validate that market for the product so that everybody can see how money is going to be made. Now, as you can see there, feel free to go ahead, subscribe to the channel so you can get more of our videos. Obviously, you can be notified when we're doing another live episode here, but most importantly, you can also figure out some more information about raising private capital, learning to get involved in real estate investing, etc. We produced a ton of content on that because that's what I do professionally. A lot of times is we're going out there buying apartment buildings, commercial real estate, etc., and teaching you to do the same thing. So it's been fun talking to you guys today. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.